Films that inspired real-life crimes. Many movies are inspired by real-life events, but when the opposite happens, the result can be disastrous. From people trying to emulate specific movie scenes, to those inspired by characters. In this video you'll find a list of real-life crimes inspired by films. Take a look and enjoy. Twilight. This romantic vampire flick was so successful among teenagers worldwide, that some of them actually believed that vampires were real. So much so, that a 13-year-old boy from Iowa, USA, was expelled from school and referred to a juvenile detention center for biting 11 classmates. Taxi Driver. This Martin Scorsese classic centers around Travis Bickle, an alienated vigilante who attempts to murder a politician. Bickle then tries to rescue teenage prostitute Iris, Jodie Foster, from the streets. After watching Taxi Driver, John Hinckley Jr. attempted to assassinate the then US President Ronald Reagan. He later confessed that it was an attempt to show his love for Jodie Foster. Fight Club. The movie starring Brad Pitt and Edward Norton revolves around an underground fight club that evolves into Project Mayhem. The organization's goal is to bring down modern civilization and uses terrorist acts as their modus operandi. On Memorial Day 2009, a number of homemade bombs were set up across various locations in New York City, including one that went off in a Starbucks. 19-year-old Kyle Shaw was charged for the Starbucks attack, though he is linked to others. He had set up his own fight club in Project Mayhem. Scream. Scream revolutionized the slasher horror genre. This modern classic did, however, inspire a number of copycat murders. One of these murders was committed by Thierry Jaradin. He put on the full costume and stabbed 15-year-old Alison Cambia 30 times after she refused to have sex with him. American Psycho. A handsome New York City professional by day, and brutal murderer by night. This was essentially Patrick Bateman's life in American Psycho. Michael Hernandez stabbed his classmate Jamie Goff to death. American Psycho was one of the movies that inspired the young man who, according to prosecutors, wanted to become a serial killer. First Blood. John Rambo hit the big screen in 1982. Apparently, the character resonated with a number of young men, who tried to recreate their hero's adventures in Canada. A young man wearing an army uniform shot and killed an officer. He was eventually gunned down. Many other men were found wearing face paint and military attire in the Canadian wilderness. The Town. The Town centers around a gang of bank robbers in Boston. The movie portrays the struggle between one of the characters' criminal life and love life. Inspired by the film, a group of New York bank robbers successfully used similar methods when robbing a bank. Interview with the Vampire. Another vampire movie inspired a gruesome crime. This time, it was Interview with the Vampire that influenced a real-life crime. After watching the movie, Daniel Sterling told his girlfriend that he was going to kill her and drink her blood. He stabbed her 7 times. Sterling said he didn't blame the movie, but confessed that he was influenced by it.
Natural-born killers. A couple of serial killers on the run, committing crimes, having fun, and enjoying media attention. This is what Natural-Born Killers is all about. A number of copycat crimes were committed after the movie came out. One of these included Sarah Edmondson and Ben Darris, a couple from Oklahoma who went on their own crime spree, shooting 2 people in the process. Queen of the Damned. Yes, yet another vampire movie. Who would have thought these long-fanged creatures would inspire so many crimes? This one, though, is particularly horrific. Alan Menzies murdered his best friend, drank his blood, and ate parts of his head. He said he was told to commit the crime by a character of the movie. Menzies was later found dead in his prison cell.
Money Train. The movie is set in New York City, and centers around a train robbery and a love triangle. A young man tried to recreate one of the movie scenes, where a thief robs a subway token booth and sets it on fire with the clerk inside. Several similar copycat crimes were committed afterwards. Backdraft. The movie tells the story of a group of Chicago firefighters and their attempt to catch an arsonist. In an attempt to be a hero just like the ones in the movie, a young man set a chair in his girlfriend's house on fire while everyone was asleep. He didn't even get the chance to put the fire out as the family woke up with the smoke. He was arrested for arson. A Nightmare on Elm Street. This 1980s classic slasher movie featuring character Freddy Krueger also inspired a real-life crime. In 2004, copycat serial killer Daniel Gonzalez murdered 4 people using kitchen knives. Gonzalez was mentally ill and was not undergoing any treatment. He eventually committed suicide in prison. Saw. Jigsaw is a sadistic serial killer who plays torture games with his victims. 2 boys were found to be plotting Saw-like murders. They had planned every detail meticulously, and if it wasn't for one of the boys' mothers reporting them to the police, they likely would have gone ahead and committed the crimes. The Dark Knight. The second part of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy also inspired a number of crimes. A man was arrested after breaking into his cousin's house and assaulting him while dressed as the movie's villain, the Joker. Another bizarre case involved a young girl assaulting a high school teacher with a razor blade while wearing Joker makeup.